something I'm gonna say later is a huge mindset shift that you need to have if you want to be happy and if you want to make progress. When you really do want something, you're gonna go the extra mile to figure it out. Welcome to episode 3 of the Pink and Powerful podcast, my ladies and femmes. Today, I want to talk about how to stop making yourself sad and depressed, because I know, I'm very aware that depression and feelings of sadness can be really complex. They can be more than just you doing it to yourself. Depression can come from so many different things. It can come from trauma. It can come from hormone imbalance. It can come from a situation that you're in that might be really difficult. It can come from so many different things, but also there is a time where we are bringing it upon ourselves. And I know that might be hard to hear. It might be hard to admit, but I want to give you some tough love in this podcast today, because sometimes the things that we want to hear aren't the same as the things that we need to hear. And I know someone out there needs to hear this. So let's talk about how to stop making yourself sad and how to make yourself feel happier and more in love with life, more alive, and just better overall. So I think that making yourself sad can happen two different ways, either from the way that you speak to yourself or just from your actions. The way that you speak to yourself, do not sleep on this, because I think a lot of people do sleep on it. They don't realize, they're not even conscious of the thoughts that they're thinking. They're not even aware of what's going on in their head. And I think one of the first most important ways you can be aware of your thoughts is meditation. And if you've never meditated before, this might sound intimidating to you. You might be like, I don't know how. I don't think I'll be able to shut off my mind. I just can't do it. But it's not about shutting off your mind. It's more about just letting things go, letting things happen. If a dog barks, if you hear a baby crying outside, if you are having all these thoughts that you're like, oh my gosh, I need to stop thinking, I need to turn off my brain. It's all meant to be. It's all okay, because that's the whole point, is just becoming aware of all of these different sounds, and specifically, like I said, specifically becoming aware of your thoughts. When you become aware of your thoughts, that's when you can start to challenge them, question them, and change them. Now, let me give you an example of a thought that I acknowledged that I had that was pretty harmful and like pretty mean. One time when I was practicing dancing, because I'm learning how to dance right now, I was watching back a video. I like to record myself to track my progress. And in the video, I made a silly mistake and I didn't realize it while I was doing it. So when I watched it back, I was like, I literally had this thought. What the fuck was that? That's so mean. Imagine your friend saying that to you. Imagine you show a friend a video of you trying something new and they're like, what the fuck was that? It's like, I would not be friends with that person anymore. I think I'd have to cut that person off. I was like, whoa, I did not realize that I talk to myself like that. And I don't know exactly how often I do, because I don't always catch it, but I'm really trying to work on not talking to myself like that and talking to myself how a best friend would talk to me. And I would heed you to try to do the same, because at the end of the day, all you have is you. You're the one that wakes up in your brain and your body. You're the one that goes to sleep in your brain and body. And nobody else hears your thoughts besides you. And we basically talk to ourselves all day long. It's kind of like we are living with a person, and that person is ourself. If you've ever lived in a toxic household where you're living with somebody that is just bringing you down, it's basically the same thing when you're bringing yourself down. It's like living with a toxic person, and the toxic person is you. So don't be that person. Be a healthy, loving person to yourself. Be kind to yourself and give yourself grace and give yourself love, because it really, really does make a difference. Like, have you ever been laying in bed and you're like, I don't want to get up. I don't want to get up. Oh, I just can't get up. I don't want to start the day. And then obviously it makes it harder to get up, doesn't it? But if you were to instead say, okay, I'm gonna get up, I got this. This might be hard. I might not be ready for the day, but I'm gonna do it because I can do hard things. It makes it so much easier to get things done, at least speaking for myself. I don't know if everybody feels the same way. I know different things work for different people, but I would suggest, highly suggest you try it, because in my opinion, positive motivation is better than pretty much any other type of motivation. And when you have somebody being negative to you all the time and like being rude to you and just not hyping you up, it's a lot harder to get things done and to live. So Yeah, start with meditation. Try to scan your thoughts. Look at them as outside things. Look at them like they're clouds drifting by. Just be aware of them without giving into them and getting wrapped up in them. The next thing is the actions. Like I said, there are so many things that we do that make us sad. For example, some of those things might be eating lots of fast food, sugar, junk food, scrolling too much on social media mindlessly, being around negative people, gossiping, partying and alcohol and drugs, excessive use of all of those things. These are all not very uplifting actions to do. At the end of the day, whether you want to admit this or not, you're in control of all these things. Let's tackle these things one at a time. So eating junk food, eating trash that doesn't make you feel good, it's not nutritious. If you're doing that all the time, every day, because yes, there is a balance. Like, I believe having a donut every once in a while is not the worst thing you can do. I think that's okay. But obviously in moderation, and when you're not doing these things in moderation, that's where the problem is. That's where people have so much more control than they think, generally, right? I mean, sure, there's some outliers, like there's some people with disordered eating patterns and all that, but generally speaking, you have the power to choose what you eat. And I know that there's a lot of factors that can play into this, like time management and like money, but think about it. If you're faced with the decision to either buy a bowl of fruit that's $2 or a sandwich from McDonald's that is $2, what are you going to pick? Because then you can't use the excuse, the bowl of fruit is too expensive. You can't use that excuse because it's the same price. And I think that this does happen a lot more often than people realize. I think that people do assume that healthy food is expensive, and some of it is, don't get me wrong. But there are options if you really, really look for it. And something I'm going to say later is a huge mindset shift that you need to have if you want to be happy and if you want to make progress. Wait for that coming up. But basically what it comes down to is when you really do want something, you're going to go the extra mile to figure it out. You're not just going to be like, well, it's too expensive, so never mind. I totally give up. You know, there are options. There's a lot more options than you realize. And I know that not everybody is in the same scenario. Not everybody has the same situation. But generally speaking, like I said, I don't want y'all to get caught up on outliers, generally speaking. And you know what I'm saying, because if this applies to you and you're like, dang, that's true. I kind of would pick the McDonald's sandwich when I know I would benefit more from picking the fruit. You know it. And I think the thing with eating and exercising, the thing that really drives me absolutely bonkers up the wall is the same people will complain about how they're depressed and they're gaining weight. They're just not happy with their body image. But it's like, are you doing anything about it? Are you doing anything about it? That's where the tough love comes in. What are you doing about it? Because at the end of the day, if you're not trying to change a situation that you very well can change, that's on you. And I think some people, rather than making a change, they rather just complain. And that was bars. Am I writing a rap song right now? I might be. But it's true. Like, some people, they don't actually want to put in the work. They just want your sympathy and they want to complain to you. And they want you to feel sorry for them. And I don't like giving people that, because that's not going to actually help you. That's like a quick fix. If someone's like, oh, I'm so sorry that you're not feeling good about yourself. Like, I am sorry that you're not feeling good. But then I'm going to ask you, how about right now? Let's just drink a glass of water. Let's go on a walk. Let's just do 10 push-ups if you can do those. Let's do something small that will make a change right now. Let's not wait on it. Let's start right now. And then they don't do it. And it's like, okay, well then, I don't know what you expect from me. Like, that's not actually going to help you in the long term. You're just going to get a quick fix of dopamine from me telling you that I feel bad for you. And then you're not going to get better. And I want to see people get better. Like, I genuinely really care about people. I really connect with people. I have a lot of empathy for others. So when I see somebody hurting, I really, really want to help. And when they won't let you help, it can be frustrating when you care so much, but I do try to let it go and just be like, I can't help them unless they want help. But I do hope that that resonates with you, because you have more power than you think with all of this. For instance, with social media, that was the second one. If you find yourself mindlessly scrolling, you can place boundaries with that. You can say, okay, I'm only going to get on my phone from the hours of 5 to 6, 5 to 7. After that, I'm going to put it down. I'm going to set time limits. There's certain apps where you can block off Instagram, TikTok, whatever app you have a problem with. There's certain apps that you can get that will lock you out of that for a time frame. Or there's limits even on Instagram, even on the apps themselves, where it'll pop up a message and be like, hey, you reached your limit. You can do all these things. And trust me, I know social media can be very, very addicting. So it can take some time, but just be patient with yourself, and at least you're trying. Like, if it takes a while for you to really set these boundaries and really get that locked in, it's okay, because like I said, you're trying. That's the only thing that you need to do, is try. As long as you're trying, and be real with yourself, trying your best. Like, if you're not actually trying your best, you're like, I'm kind of trying. You can't expect results. Gotta be honest and be like, am I actually doing the best I can do? And if you are, then that's all that matters. The third thing, toxic people. I know sometimes it can be hard to cut off toxic people, especially if they've been in your life a long time, but you're the CEO of your life. This is something, one of my biggest inspirations in the fitness industry, Buff Bunny, Heidi Summers. She says, you're the CEO of your life. You can hire and fire people. If you have a friend that's always bringing you down, always criticizing you, just embarrassing you in front of other people, you can fire them from being your friend. And you can promote a person that always brings you up. You can surround yourself with more people like this. And especially, I know it's difficult when it comes to family, because there is this belief that they're your family, so you can't cut them off. Girl, please. I have cut off at least 2 members of my family that were extremely toxic to me, and my life is better for it. You don't have to keep these people in your life, because we don't pick our family. We don't. But we can pick whether we want them close to us or far away from us. And if you don't totally cut this person off, you can still at least set boundaries with people too. You can control how often you talk to them. You can slowly back away, you know what I'm saying? You're not obligated to stay in anybody's life. You're really not. You don't owe anybody. The next one, gossiping, kind of ties into that, because if you're around people that are constantly gossiping, it might influence you to gossip more, or maybe you just do it on your own. So be aware of that as well. And like, if you're watching reality TV shows, I think that can influence you to gossip more, because a lot of the shows, all they are is drama. Like, all they are is gossip and people fighting. And honestly, I know those shows can be entertaining for a lot of people, but get real with the impact that they have on you. Like, are they actually positively benefiting your life when you watch these shows? I don't like watching them, because I just think they drag me down. They don't motivate me. I don't like to consume media like that. And my life has also gotten better from that. So yeah, gossiping can extremely bring down your vibration, whether you realize it or not. Because think about it. If you're gossiping about somebody, how would you feel if they were saying that stuff about you? You probably wouldn't like it. So yeah, that's a really bad habit that I think we could all work harder on trying to quit. The next one is partying, alcohol, drugs. Like I said with eating, like I said with pretty much all these things, actually. Sure, in moderation, maybe that's fine for you. For me, I can't do it at all. I hate it. It drains the fuck out of me. I used to love it. I used to love going out. I used to think it was so fun, and then it just stopped being fun for me. So I just totally quit all of that. I've been sober for 2 years, over 2 years now. And I'm not saying that you have to totally cut it out completely, because I know for some people, maybe that's not realistic. But I think it would extremely benefit you if you did. I can't lie. I think it would, because people don't understand. I think people do understand, actually, how bad alcohol really is for your health, but they don't want to accept it because, they think it's a good time. And like, I've been there. I empathize, because I have had fun. Obviously, I've had my fun. But when I did my research about how much alcohol impacts your health negatively, that's what really, really made me want to quit. And if you want me to make a separate episode about that, I will. But drugs and alcohol can bring your dopamine levels lower than they're supposed to be at baseline, because before you take all of that stuff, you have a baseline dopamine level. It goes up after you take them, and then after you're done doing all of it, it crashes way lower than it was before you started doing all of it. So it can really, really lower your mood, impact your mood and your productivity, your money, endless things. So I think a lot of people do it to escape, and I'm not judging anybody for that because my heart is with those people. I've been there, and you will find that when you stop trying to escape your problems, life is going to open up for you. And feeling is healing. I know a lot of people don't want to feel pain and they want to avoid it, but feeling is healing, and the healing process is such a beautiful process. It's difficult. It's amazing. It's so many things at once, and it's worth it. The biggest thing is it's worth it. And putting all that down, you can see, wow, life is so much more beautiful without all of it. So yeah, at least in moderation, I will suggest, because I just know so much about how it can impact your mental health. And yeah, so the message that I was talking about earlier is you will either find a way or you'll find an excuse. So if you really want to be happy, if you really want to feel better, feel good, stop being sad, you will find a way to do it. If you don't want it bad enough, then you won't. But you have so much power. You are so fucking powerful. You are in control. You are in control of your life. You are the CEO of your life. Heidi is right. Buff Bunny, she speaks the truth. It might be difficult sometimes. You might feel like really bad about yourself, really sorry for yourself. You might be down bad and just be like, I can't bring myself to do anything good. All I can do is sit here, scroll, eat this junk food, and watch reality TV. And like, I have these negative people in my life and they bring me down, but I can't cut them off. And I'm just so unhappy. I know that being in a place like that can be really hard, and it can take some time to get out of that. But you can do it. You can do it, and you will do it if you want it bad enough. It's just, how bad do you want it? It's just, how bad do you want it? Ask yourself, how bad do I actually want to be happy? How bad am I actually trying? Like I was saying earlier, be aware of those thoughts when you're feeling sorry for yourself. Like, oh, I'm a piece of shit. I'm just doing all these terrible things. I know I should be doing something else, but I just can't bring myself to do it. Stop those thoughts. Stop them right where they are. Be like, wait. They're happening. Those are the thoughts that she was talking about in the podcast. Instead, you can replace them and be like, no, I am powerful. She's right. She's Mama Swole. She's right. I am so fucking powerful. I can get up. And then you slowly do start to get up. It doesn't have to be all overnight. It can be little habits at a time. It can be making yourself a bowl of fruit. It can be going for a walk. It can be ignoring a very negative text message that you don't want to entertain. It can be turning off that TV show and turning on a podcast like this that's actually going to help inspire you. I hope that this is helping inspire you. Yeah, it's just little small things at a time, small changes, and over time those changes really add up. Think about a staircase when you're climbing a staircase, but after all those stairs, you get to the very top. Give yourself some credit, because the fact that you even listened to this whole podcast, you should be so fucking proud of yourself, because that's something that, I don't know, probably 90% of people won't do. They will just accept their conditions, accept that they're sad, they're making themselves sad, and they won't do anything about it. But you actually are. You actually are trying. You actually do care about making yourself feel better, or else you wouldn't have listened to this in the first place. So I congratulate you. You should be so fucking proud of yourself. You should feel so good about listening to this and wanting better for yourself. I hope that you are. That's all for this podcast today. Remember to own your power, because you are so powerful, girl. You are so powerful. My ladies and femmes, we are so fucking powerful. I'll see you guys in the next episode.